Hello and welcome to Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene podcast. This podcast is all about how to attain healthier skin. You may be struggling with a skin condition such as psoriasis or eczema or acne, or perhaps a condition that causes the skin to become unhealthy, such as PCOS or irritable bowel or Crohn's disease. Regardless of what your condition is, healthy skin is attained by having a healthy body. So my mission is about bringing a huge array of experts to your attention in various areas of health. I hope you find this information knowledgeable and insightful and helpful for your specific journey in having better health. Remember to always connect with us through Facebook at Dr. Irene Prantelos, Psoriasis and Healthy Skin. You can email me at info@salubre.com.au. I hope you enjoy the show, and please feel free to give us any sort of insight into what you feel you need to hear in future episodes. Hello and welcome to Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene. Today I have my good friend Cheryne Blom on the show. Now I've written a few notes, so I wanted to make sure I covered everything because this lady knows a lot of stuff about everything, really. So Cheryne is a passionate life coach and a meditation teacher and the host of Peace in My Pocket meditation podcast. Cheryne specializes in stress management and self-empowerment to help her clients achieve calm, clarity, and confident courage by managing and dissolving stressful thoughts and emotions. So welcome, Cheryne.
Thank you.
It's so exciting to have you on my show, my very new podcast.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Now, I met Cheryne a few years ago. I don't even know how many years ago that is, but some years ago because I was highly recommended to have you speak at my live event. I was speaking to my then business coach and she was like, you need Cheryne on, she's amazing. And we spoke for a few minutes over the phone and then we met and I was thinking, my gosh, I've got so many questions to ask this lady. Our conversation just expanded into every facet of well-being. So And I know the attendees at the show were just enthralled by your speaking. So I thought you definitely have to be on this podcast and, you know, enlighten your wisdom onto the viewers or the listeners, depending on how people are watching or listening to this podcast. So I wanted to ask, you know, one thing that I noticed at the show, at the event that we did, a lot of people, you know, struggle with emotions and that thought process and the impact of people around them and, you know, how that upsets their you know, road to positive thinking and you know, distracts them and obviously the outcome is either health concerns or you know, decision making process that isn't ideal for their journey or their goals. So what, you know, what do you usually see and how do you usually encourage your clients to deal with these stressful thoughts and emotions?
Well, the first step is really about becoming aware of it, because a lot of the time we just live in this kind of slumber state.
Yeah.
And we're not aware of the thoughts that are going through our head. We're not aware of the conditioning that we have of the person that we think we're being. We don't have conscious awareness of it. So we're just kind of like on autopilot going through our day. And a lot of the time when I start working with a client, they don't realize the thoughts. Sometimes we have to kind of just slow down the process to first become aware of the thoughts. And, you know, how I explain it to my clients is like, imagine your mind is like Google. And, you know, if you're trying to find something on Google, the more specific you are with your search, you know, whatever you're typing into that on that search bar is the result you're going to get. So if you're not aware of the thoughts that you're having, you know, scientists say that we have somewhere around 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Now, obviously we're not going to be aware of those, but we do want to be aware of at least a couple hundred that we're having a day. And if we don't have that awareness, we don't realize that we're actually programming ourselves into a stress state and not into a calm state.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like you can actually be affected by other people's thought processes. So, if someone very close to you has this way of thinking and you don't necessarily realize that their negative thought process or their way of perceiving the world or situations are actually impacting you, because then you just start adopting these philosophies and not realizing you're actually creating a mind that can become a bit toxic.
Absolutely. And we tend to become quite reactive in that state. So we
Mm.
become reactive to our environment or people or situations, rather than kind of staying mindful. I like to look at that, like mindfulness, to see it as a verb rather
Yeah.
than a noun,
Yeah.
in that we're learning to live mindfully.
Yeah.
Which means in that state of awareness, aware of what's going on for the other person, what's going on for me. And that's kind of part of like the therapy process, is really about getting that self-awareness,
Yeah.
bringing what's in the subconscious mind to conscious awareness, so that you can be aware of it. Because a lot of the time we don't realize, like you said, that we're taking on energy or taking on thought patterns,
Yeah.
and so we tend to lose ourselves
Yeah.
in the environment, rather than stay kind of connected and empowered.
And I think when disease happens, that's when we start looking at various aspects. Okay, well, now I've got this disease. Why is this presented? What's happening? Typically, obviously, with disease, we'll start looking for a treatment. But once we realize that our treatment isn't doing what we want to do, or we need to give more of ourselves, or we need to adjust various aspects of ourselves to get more impact on a positive body or positive health, my whole thing is obviously with psoriasis and skin health, and that's massively impacted by stress. Me and dermatologists don't necessarily see eye to eye on everything, but the one thing dermatologists will always acknowledge is that stress will lead to psoriasis. And in actual fact, in my opinion, in clinic, in what I see, I would say over 90% of ailments are stress or emotion induced. So in the situation where someone is having a disease state and they're trying to look at their life and say, okay, well, what am I doing that possibly is contributing to this poor health, whether it is stress from having a disease, but also the stress that's causing the disease. So, how do you get someone to get that clarity? Because I know with me, I was always told, don't stress, don't stress, don't stress. And then I'm looking at my body covered going, how do I not stress? So how do you deal with obviously feeling negative, feeling down, feeling destitute sometimes because you don't know what your life is going to bring, but at the same time moving forward and getting unstuck?
Yeah. And when I know we met, I shared with you my journey with rosacea, and I'm happy to kind of send you a photo to show people like where I had got to. My whole face was covered, and it really put me on this journey of really fine tuning what's happening within my body. Because what you were saying, about how stress affects us, how I see it is what I was saying, like when we're not aware of the thoughts, the body's a reflection of the mind. So if we are having all these emotions that we're not aware of, they're just getting stuck in the body. And wherever that emotion is getting stuck, there's no chi going, there's no life force, and there's no oxygen going there. So it's going to create disease, because wherever there is no life force, nothing can grow. So we literally we have this stuckness in our body. And a lot of the time that's where we feel, I'm stuck in stress. I'm just stuck in this reality. I don't know how to change. I don't know how to grow. I don't know how to get myself out of this. And, if we're saying to ourselves, don't stress, don't stress, don't stress, don't stress, we're basically, the unconscious mind can't process a negative, you hear the one thing all the time. If I say to you, don't think about a blue tree, you're going to be focusing on it. So we tend to just be obsessing over this. And what that creates is excessive worry, which is anxiety, right? And the mind's going, what if this, what if that, what if that? So again, there's this conscious or subconscious processing going on, where we're just focusing internally on stress. So, the first step is that we flip that into a focus of whatever that may be. So for example, calm, right? Calm may be the opposite of stress right now. And so in that focusing of calm, we want to program all our senses into that. So I'll take a client through a process, my meditation that I teach is kind of what I define as mind focus meditation, which means we are focusing the mind, the senses, and we're focusing our processing to create the desired emotional result.
Yeah.
So you want the whole mind to be focused on calmness. So one of the things that I did with my rosacea, besides having to, cut out all the histamines and all the other, stress triggers that my body was going through, in my mindset control, what I used to do was every day, every morning, I had a visualization, visualizing my skin. I actually had even created a vision board, incorporating all the foods that I had to eat and this healthy lifestyle that went along with having my healthy skin.
Yep.
And so, and even like when I was washing my face, or, instead of looking in the mirror and panicking and going, when is this all going to go? How's this all going to go? Am I going to look like a monster forever? Which was just really destroying my confidence. I pulled away from speaking. I pulled away from everything because I was like, how can I present myself looking like this? And I know that's kind of a very surface, thing, but that's how us humans or the ego works.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's
so it still
human.
affects us.
Yeah.
So being able to focus. Yeah.
I was just going to say, when it is on your face, I notice that with patients, acne or rosacea, eczema, or even psoriasis, I did at one stage have it all over my face. It is that whole thing of this secret I'm trying to hide. Now the whole world's going to know about it, and the shame that you have. Oh my gosh, people know that I'm not healthy, and so one perspective, it's the shame associated with it and the secret that's out that you didn't want it to be out.
Yes.
And the other perspective is, now everyone's going to tell me of what I should do. You tried this cream, go to this person, have you tried this drug? And then you're thinking, just leave me alone. I'm not defined by my skin, which is what I used to constantly get calls, some psoriasis treatment on a current affair. And, hey, Irene, I just saw on a current affair, they've got this new drug, and I'm like, I'm not psoriasis. My name's Irene, So I think people try and help, but it's also really quite damaging to the self-esteem, because this whole presentation of this disease is what you're going to be defined as. And I don't think people want to be defined that way. So,
And like as a life coach, like even, 10 years ago when I started this real journey of self-discovery, I made that commitment, is that I'm stopping to blame the outside world, and I'm claiming my shit, right? I'm looking in the mirror. So when it came up in my face, for me, it was like, it's in your face. Exactly like you said, there's nowhere left to hide. And for me, it was a reflection of, where am I out of integrity in my life? Right? So where I'm going into stress is where I'm going into fear. And where I'm going into fear, I'm not being my true self. I'm not being my authenticity. I'm not being my best version of myself anytime that I'm in fear. So it was really that internal process of going, so for one area of my life that, kept on showing up but breaking the integrity was food, right? Food was kind of my self-soother. It was my vice, that I turned to. And, that was really something to face, cutting out, there was sugar, dairy, meat, alcohol, coffee, chocolate, all these things that I thought made me happy, and what I based my existence on. And even what I learned, I was 7 years alcohol free. And that completely changed my life. Because the process of being able to face yourself without alcohol, and you realize, I realized, wow, alcohol was such a mask of what gave me confidence. And then when I didn't have it, it was like, well, now I have to tap into inner resources, So the process of really healing myself was looking at, like, really kind of authentically with myself of, where am I giving away my power to myself? Like, where am I losing my power? Where am I giving in? Where am I not owning myself and my integrity? And so in that visualization that I would be doing, it would be like visualizing, the skin the way that I wanted to, and I'd be visualizing myself, the ideal version of myself.
And I love that authenticity, because I actually think many of us don't truly know who we are, because, you know, we go through the school system, which is all about being either popular or being liked by the popular kids. And so you adjust to your personality to fit in so much, because you know, the thought of not fitting in is just so devastating at that age. And then you get into this you know, even a career that you think, well, society expects me to do this, or, you know, not even authentically knowing what I want to do in my life. Why am I here? And it's not until you're in your 40s or even 30s where you start going, hate my job, don't even like my friends, I've got nothing in common with them, you know, and all these decisions that I'd made weren't actually made on me being authentic. And I think that's where disease brings your awareness, because when you know, I know my journey was very much treatment, this isn't working. And then you start going, right, okay, well, there's obviously something more than just treatment going on, so I need to try and figure this out. And that's where you start peeling away the layers. And I think really at the base of it all is, are you being authentic? So
and your body knows when you're not.
Yeah, but your mind
your body
doesn't.
knows. Yeah. Well, you know, and you asked me how I do it, how I work through with clients. And you know, one of the things that I do is, like, in my coaching model, I talk about the two sides of self, this duality of self that happens, the ego and the essence. And what we don't realize is that from childhood, the ego self is conditioned, and we develop this personality to adapt, like you said, like that desperate need to fit in, the desperate need to be accepted, because the ego has these three core beliefs, these three core fears that weaken us at our core. And we don't realize, when we're disconnected from that, we don't realize that we're conditioning the ego. So we become the person that we should be. We become the person we need to be to fit in, rather than the person that we truly are. Rather than our essence. And like, my coaching is about returning to that essence. My coaching is about discovering who is you. Like, first we got to get clear about what belongs to the ego and what belongs with the essence. And in that self-discovery process, you see where you're out of alignment. Like, I can see the parts of myself that are, this is me trying to prove myself. This is me trying to get attention. This is me trying to be liked right now. This is me trying to get it right. This is me trying not to fail, right? Which would be feeding that ego self. And the more we feed that ego self, the more out of alignment we get, the more stress we become into. So stress is a result of being in that ego state. And
it's trying to keep it up, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And exactly, like a rat on a treadmill or a mouse on a treadmill. We're just stuck in this space of, I need to, I should, I have to, I must, you know, and all it is catching that language, you know, I should do this, I have to do that. And we can hear it in our tonality, you know. So like when we discover our essence, we discover our core virtues. Like exactly that question. That's the core question of any self-development or any spiritual self-actualization, is about, who am I, right? So, you know, it's about, well, who am I? And this is about connecting with your own unique virtues. We each have our unique virtues that help us actualize our own unique purpose, which means we're all here for a reason. Our differences are for a reason.
So you would say that meditation brings that awareness too, right? So if someone says, like, my head is so full right now, I am so torn with various responsibilities I've got children, my husband or spouse, work, you know, I can't comprehend anything clear now. I don't even know what day of the month it is, let alone to identify what, you know, my true self is. So I guess if someone is so stuck and so you know, not knowing how to progress, meditation is a great start for them. Would you say that?
Oh, absolutely. See, meditation is like the circuit breaker, or more specifically, the breath is the circuit breaker. So if we're just conditioned, it means that our outside stimulus, based on how we're perceiving the world through our senses, our outside stimulus is just putting us into this conditioned space. When we literally stop and we say stop, it's like we're putting a pause in those neurological pathways that are just being fired off automatically. And if we just stop and we breathe, it's like we're creating this little space in between time, right? We create this pause, and that takes us internally. So meditation is about turning that lens inwardly.
Yes.
One of the things you'll notice in all of my meditations is that they start where I say, close your eyes and focus on that space behind your eyelids.
Right. Okay.
Imagine behind your eyelids, you have two little mirrors that are reflecting your inner world. So
Mm.
it's understanding when we close our eyes,
Mm.
we disengage from the outside stimulus
Mm.
and all the outside triggers, and we reflect inwards. I heard a beautiful quotation the other day that said, meditation is the act of touching your own heart.
Oh, yeah.
And I
That's so
just
true.
love that, because I thought that just encompasses it all. It lets us cut through all the layers of the ego. It lets us
Mm.
go inside and connect.
Mm.
Meditation is very much about self-connection. We can't do any of this work
Mm.
unless we are connected. I
Yeah.
say to my clients, when you're connected and you feel that inner essence, when you can feel your breath, when you can feel that inner core self, that true self, it's like plugging into Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
right? And you get your real source power. You get now I know how to function,
Yeah.
because you're fully connected. And that connection brings a sense of calm.
Yeah.
So calmness is the way for the nervous system to know if we're happy or not.
So
Anything out of calm is of fight or flight.
Yes. So one thing I often have, because I commonly express to patients the importance of meditation or some form of relaxation. And one common response is, which I know they're all in the fight flight mode. So you tell someone who's in the fight flight to calm, they're like, no, I'm too busy to. And the one thing they always say is, oh no, I just can't calm my mind down during a meditation. My mind's too active. So if I'm too active, well, what's the point? And I won't say what I often say, but as obviously you're a meditation teacher, you're much more intuitive and wise about this. I guess if that someone is saying that to you, I can't calm down. I can't bring that sense of peace in my mind because I'm just so much, in that headspace of fight or flight. What would you encourage them to do?
Well, it's very much about repetition, staying with the experience, continuing to bring yourself back, which is what mindfulness is, that return to the present moment.
Yeah.
And, I liken it to puppy training.
Yeah.
So if you go to puppy school on the first day, your puppy's jumping all over the place, right? It's so undisciplined. It's not listening to anything you say. And you have to have that leash to say, pull it in, sit, heel, stay, listen to me, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so it's literally, starting a meditation process is like puppy training. It's
Yeah.
about reining in your puppy, reining in that leash and saying, come back, come back, come back. So, understanding that it's going to take time. So imagining yourself on that first day in puppy training and then knowing, well, you know what, in a few weeks, if I persist, you see every puppy graduate. Well, most puppies. Yeah. Actually, mine, I didn't even try to take to puppy school, but I just let it be. But eventually he's learned. The mind adapts, right? That's what neuroplasticity is that understanding that the mind will adapt to our environment if we persist long enough. So there's a couple things that need to happen there. Is one, we need to understand that when we're in fight or flight, there is so much adrenaline and cortisol going through our body that we're like on a sugar high, right? It's like giving a toddler a whole store of lollies and then telling him to sit still, right? It's not going to happen.
Definitely not going to happen.
So step into the buzz, right?
Yeah.
Understand, like just accept it. Accept that this is the adrenaline right now. I don't have to buy into it. I can just observe it without creating a story. I can not judge it, not attach to it. I can observe it.
Right.
Feel the buzz. Step into the buzz. Stay with the experience.
Yeah.
And the more that you focus on your breathing or on some specific point, I really focus on the breathing because the breathing changes the brain waves, right? And the heartbeat.
I find breathing helps me too, to be honest, out of all meditation.
Well, when we're in that, stress state, the brain is at that fast pace. And so we need to kind of bring it into that kind of lower state, and kind of the more we focus, the more we slow down our breathing, the more we slow down our heart rate.
Okay.
That brain wave kind of slows down.
Yeah.
So, we have to, again, just accepting the process as opposed to resisting it, like working with it. Just step into that buzz, step into, the hangover or whatever the feeling is, and just be present with it. breathe through it, because the longer you stay in it, it will transform.
Yeah.
It will move. And instead of focusing on getting it right, has to be this way. Oh, I can't calm my mind. Little bits every day, just giving yourself even 5 to 10 minutes every single day is enough puppy training for the mind, that you'll find, okay, every day it's going to be different. And every day is going to be different. Like some days we're just going to be triggered. We're going to be, if we've had gluten or sugar, or, coffee, all of these things put the body into a fight or flight state. It's not only our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So, I had a client once that came to my meditation classes, and she was like, I'm really, really struggling. And I said to her, what's take me through some of your days. And one of the things she said is she has 9 cups of coffee during the day. She doesn't drink any water, hates water.
Wow.
And I was like, your body's not going to go into meditation. Like your body's not going to go into a calm state because you're so stimulated. Exactly.
And I think another thing you just said about being present, we kind of get caught up in the whole world and expectation and deadlines and all this sort of stuff, and then we are completely removed from being present in that moment. And I think so meditation is another source of bringing that awareness to being present. And I can feel the seat I'm in, I can feel the floor I'm in, my feet are sitting on, which is another a massive benefit to meditation. So I wanted to ask, and this is another question that came up during our live event that's just popped into my head. Someone said, okay, so what if you're doing all this? What if you're, doing the meditation and you really are finding benefit in that progress and finding your body calm, but then you have that external impact of, whether it be negative people, whether it's a negative spouse, whether it's just comments. I think my thing's always, one of the things I do talk about is positive mindset and having always a supportive network of people around you. But I've realized that some people just don't have that. So what would you say? Do you say to someone to avoid exposure to that person, or do you ignore it? Do you shut down? How do you manage someone who, they're not that they're nasty, they're just not recognizing that they do have that negative persona and it is impacting you? Even if you do say, hey, I really feel stressed when you say things like this, they just don't recognize it, which is obviously their journey and their issue. But how do you protect yourself and your world from that? I mean, I would not advise this. I just avoid people. So I just get rid of them. I'm like, see ya. I'm not here to change the world. I'm not here to encourage anyone to be well. They can do what they want, but for me, I can't deal with it. So I tend to just end the friendship, or just minimize my time, which I don't think is a very good way of dealing with it, because I don't think you end up dealing with this personality. You end up running away from it.
And you don't actually end up working through the issues in yourself or engaging in the resource to help yourself. So in any stressful situation, we have 3 choices, right? We can leave the situation, we can change the other person, or we can adapt ourselves. And the first 2 we have no control of. And it's not necessarily, we're not just going to keep leaving spouses because they're nasty to us or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
there won't be anyone left.
Exactly. It's just, we can't just keep running. And what that means is that we're not attending to ourselves. We're not actually transforming anything within ourselves. We're just avoiding it. Right. So it's another avoidance strategy. So what that means is, everything is about what we are making it mean. If we have an emotional reaction to something that somebody has said, it's that what they've said has been a push button to one of our inner wounds that's caused us to take it personally. Right. So somebody says, why do you always do that? Right. Now that word is like, I call it the you missile, right? Because it's like, it hits us and then we instantly need to defend ourselves. So with these toxic people, we get into the space, which is that ego awareness of, I need to prove myself, or I need to defend myself, or I need to be something that I'm not. And that very much puts the body into stress because, again, you're not being aligned, you're not being true to yourself.
Yeah.
So again, the meditation helps us connect internally. In the moment where you feel yourself taking something personally, or you feel yourself affected by toxicity around you, that you can go inside yourself. You can become aware of the feelings, sensations, thoughts that you're having, and ask yourself, what meaning am I making right now? What is this triggering in me? What is this making me feel? I have 4 questions that I call the happiness formula that I take. That's the book that I'm writing right now that will all be in there one of these days when I ever finish it. But these 4 questions that take you in and help you navigate yourself through the emotions, because it's not so much of avoiding it, but resiliency comes when we can navigate ourselves through the stress. So what I find is, like, for example, with my ex-husband was a real trigger for me. Right. And it was like one person where I just went, I completely lose myself. And, we were in a very difficult relationship, and I was in a very heightened state of arousal and stress in that relationship. And that obviously was very much conditioned, after a decade of being with a person. So, one of the things that I found is to really go within myself and recognize, this is my feeling rejection right now, or this is my fear of not being loved right now. Like, I feel he's attacking me, which is my not feeling loved right now. And then I could really soothe my inner child, because I could say, you know what, this isn't about you not being loved. This is about his fear. So I could step into, instead of taking it personally, I could step into a place of compassion and see the situation for what's really happening. Like, he's not attacking me. He's feeling stressed, or he's feeling frightful, so it let me see what is mine and what is theirs. And then I could detach. I could say, well, if that's theirs, I don't need to take this personally.
No.
And if I'm not taking it personally, I'm not taking on the toxicity. So it gave me a resiliency to be around difficult situations that sometimes I couldn't avoid. So I think if a situation is very toxic and abusive for you, you are best to limit them. Like, some people say to me, oh, my mother is so toxic to me, and how do I not have a relationship with my mom? If it's really toxic for you, you'll know when you need to call that, when you need to manage it. But, if we can self-manage and self-soothe ourselves, then we can manage those situations in a far more effective, resilient way, in an empowered state, which means we're not losing our power. We're not dropping into fear. It's not draining us. And it only drains us if we hook in.
Definitely. It's interesting, because there's a couple of people that, me and my husband have limited our contact with. And we were always fine. My husband kind of just, I think, flows with how I flow. And I was very much saying, this is not my issues. And I was very, I didn't mind seeing him. I actually enjoyed seeing him. But when my little boy came in the picture, I completely changed. I'm like, I do not want this toxicity around him, because I can take it. I can digest it. I can protect myself. I can distance myself. But he isn't of the capacity to do that at this stage. So where I was very much okay with that relationship continuing, I completely flipped when it came to creating the drama around his social events. So around his birthday and around his christening and around his, these very big moments in his life, I felt that's where I had to draw the line, because I didn't want, and it was all the subconscious stuff. It was never anything directed to him. It was all the subconscious stuff. And I'm so mindful of it that I didn't want him to think that was normal. People, family, putting you down, and creating drama around something that is meant to be joyful for you. And so I completely resonate with that. Definitely was okay when it was me and my husband. Didn't even realize I was probably doing that, because I was like, well, whatever. I don't really care what you got to say to me.
Now you're mama bear. Now you've got.
But now I'm like, hey, no one's messing with my kid.
Yeah, good mama bear, good mama bear.
I completely decided avoidance was the best, because I don't it's not my journey to change anyone. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not about me. So
Yes.
but I had to protect him. So I think sometimes you kind of, even in one circumstance, you'd probably change, wouldn't you? One minute you'd be this personality or response to it. Another time you'd think, actually, that's just completely overstepped it.
Yeah.
But I think,
and that's where you have to have that self-discernment, to know what's your threshold. You do have a choice. Like, you can detach, and then you can remove yourself if you need to. And I think if it gets to the point where you can't stop that toxicity, then you do need to remove yourself.
Yeah. And it's perfectly okay to do that. And that's where I think also I had to come to terms with that. It's okay. It's okay to put my son first. It's okay.
Part of the courage to do this work and to be authentic, because what I teach my clients, like, I have my own mantra that happiness is not for chicken shits, right? It's when you choose yourself, you have to break the patterns of, like, people pleasing, and
yes.
When you start doing this work, you go, wow, I realize how much I'm putting people over myself, how
Absolutely.
much I'm trying to be that good girl and fit in and please them. And so in that, there's so much inauthenticity. And it takes so much courage to be able to go, like you said, I'm not here to heal everybody or fix anybody. This is about me. This is about my son. This is about my husband. And what needs to be done to protect and enhance our happiness. And that's courageous choices. That's what it's about.
I know I was told by someone that I did the wrong decision, but I to this day I think I've done the right decision. And I feel really content. I don't have that nervousness. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen next?
And that's that's the self-awareness of you have to feel what's right for your body, because each person's going to project their map and their belief system onto you. So for what seems bizarre to some person, they're not feeling your feelings, and that's a really important thing to kind of go, what is my truth? And again, like, the pathway to meditation is getting that awareness, getting that self-connection to go, what is it that I want? What is my truth here? Creating that space and that time to self-reflect, instead of just being reactive or just automatic or just going off of our conditioning. We have to challenge that conditioning.
And that whole thing of people pleasing, gosh, anyone listening who's a people pleaser, change. It doesn't get you anywhere.
It's affecting your skin. It is. It is. It's a stress response. Again, and it comes from that belief of needing to be good enough or not feeling good enough.
And definitely wanting people to like you, and so you need to do things to make them like you. And so then it comes back to the lack of self-love. You're deeming yourself not good enough because you have to act in a way to get that person to like you, instead of just saying straight up, this is who I am, take me or leave me.
And self-love, so many people have so much difficulty with self-love because they think, oh, does that mean I love myself and da 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 da. Self-love is about self-acceptance. It's about self-belief. It's about choosing yourself. And that was very much part of my healing process, because it was like, especially when I knew that food was a very big trigger for me, then it was like, out of accepting who I am, accepting the sensitivity of my nervous system, accepting the sensitivity of my organs, what is my best choice right now for myself, for my own unique makeup? And that's to me, that is self-love. To me, is the opposite state of ego. It's the opposite state of fear, when we're honoring ourselves, respecting ourselves, and choosing ourselves.
Definitely. So true. So what are your tips for meditation? Do you encourage people to go to a meditation class if they've never meditated, or I know you do a podcast on meditation. That's obviously something that's really handy to have at home, and you can listen at any time, at any space. What kind of would be your tips around meditation?
My tip for everybody starting
Mm-hmm.
is to meditate first thing in the morning.
Okay.
So to
Before you
meditate
get out of bed, or
before you get out of bed. And,
okay.
you know, like, and I know, like, that's not always practical, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a partner sitting lying next to us snoring, or, you know, our children getting into bed with us. But, you know, we are in control of what we're doing with our mind. We are in control of our thoughts. So even if my son has come into bed, you know, 5 a.m. and I'm like, you're in my meditation space right now, you know, I can just leave him cuddling next to me, and I can just, what are we talking about? We're talking about just taking a couple minutes, connecting to my breath, connecting with my body, noticing if my body's stressed, tense, or if I'm keeping my body relaxed. Where are my thoughts? So even in that moment where he's come into bed with me and I think, oh, you're in my space, taking my mind to, I'm so grateful for this experience right now, and setting my intention for the day. So what's the joy that I can find today? Well, what's the joy that I can find in this moment? That is in essence what meditation is. That I'm immersed in the moment. I'm not trying to control it or make it something that it's not, or resisting it. I'm working with it, right? So I'm stepping into my experience, my authentic experience, and I'm immersed in the present moment. How can I make the best of it? How can I turn this into a positive?
Yeah.
Right. So taking a few moments to breathe, to set your breath, to set that calm mode in the body. Otherwise, we're just going to wake up. We're going to be on autopilot, and we're just going to be in our list of to-dos. Right. So, like, you know, most people that I speak to, the first thing that they do is reach for their phones.
Yes. I just swear I want to break phones. My husband's always on his phone. I just want to throw phones.
Yeah.
They're the worst
It's
things.
really just in keeping us stuck in this space.
Oh, totally.
You know, so again, it's
Although
keeping
people might be
everything
watching us on their phone right now.
So I mean,
that's okay.
We don't want to throw it away, but it's about balance. It's about moderation, right? It's about where we go into excess and where we lose our power. So, and creating those habits of connection and the habits that enhance our calmness. You know, I like to look that there's a science of calm, right? That there's, just like we have this fight or flight space, this fight or flight mode, we have this relaxation response. And how do we help the body get into this relaxation response? So if I'm reaching for my phone and instantly I see my Facebook messages and I go, oh, I have to check those right away. And then I get onto Facebook, and you know what Facebook does? Facebook brings up comparitis, right?
Yes.
And I go, oh, you know, they're in Bali. I'd like to be in Bali. Why can't I be in Bali? Oh, my life's like shit. Right? So we go into this self-pity story.
Totally.
And then we get out of bed and we're like, you know, and we're in
Life
this mode.
sucks.
Life sucks.
Why can't I win the lotto?
Push our child out of the way. I could be in Bali right now if you weren't in bed with me. Do you know what I mean? It's like so ridiculous. As opposed to going, embrace what we have. Don't compare yourself. Connect with yourself. See what's in your moment. See how you are creating your life. Because the minute we change those thought patterns, we change the energy. We change the emotional energy, right? And emotion is energy in motion. So if we're having a thought about gratitude, that's going to create a very positive energy, a very positive emotion in the body. That's good. The body likes that, right? The body's going to go, woo, right? It's going to enhance our chi. It's going to get us buzzing, right? We can feel that upliftment. We can feel that enthusiasm. When you feel enthusiasm, that's your chi going, right? Like, we're healthy, we're flowing, we're in flow, right? So creating that habit of meditation in the morning is really, really important. Just taking a few minutes. Now, if you find that it's very hard to guide your mind in that moment, then put on a guided meditation. You know, like I do have some, you know, really easy guided meditations. My meditations follow a very specific structure that I've learned help people get into a very deep meditative state.
Okay, that's great.
So they're very intentional. Otherwise, there's lots of apps and different, you know, other meditations that you can get to. It's creating, remember that we're not talking about mindfulness as a noun. We're talking about mindfulness as a way of living. It's a lifestyle. So it's the verb, it's the being mindful in every moment. So how am I creating that level of awareness? How am I creating that level of focus and presence? So practicing it first thing in the morning, or as you get into the shower, you know, again, just becoming in the moment, setting your intention for the day. Today I'm going to be calm. I am going to
Mm.
be aware. I am going to be present. I am going to be focused. I'm going to
Mm.
be loving and kind and compassionate. Setting
Mm.
those intentions for the day sets the tone for
Yeah.
the whole rest of the day. And then your day is then, correcting yourself when you feel yourself getting off that space, coming back to it, going off,
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
And then again, taking 5 minutes or more before you get into bed to do a short guided meditation, a sleep meditation, a very
Mm.
specific relaxation meditation that puts you into a healthy sleep. Because in actual fact, our day is dependent by how well we sleep the night before. So I'm
Yeah,
a really big
definitely.
believer of really good sleep practices. So
Mm.
again, most of us fall asleep to the TV or watching a video or YouTube
Mm.
or on Facebook again or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, taking that time to create the space for yourself. The more you
Mm.
create your space for yourself, it's like another day at puppy training,
Yeah. Yeah,
right? and
definitely.
and you'll just strengthen those muscles.
Yeah. So would you be able to take us through a very quick meditation
Yes,
if we've got
absolutely.
time?
Yes, yeah,
'Cause we do.
absolutely. Absolutely. How much time do we have?
I don't know. I think we've been going for almost an hour. I'd
Oh,
say
wow.
maybe 50 minutes, I would say.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I think maybe a couple of minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, let's just do a nice 5-minute exercise just so you can see how easy it is
Okay.
to connect.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Close your eyes and focus on that space behind your eyelids. So first become aware that there is a space behind your eyelids. So just notice that space and notice what is in that space. So just notice if it's dark or if there's light or if there's flashes, movements, or if it's still, as if you're looking into a kaleidoscope. Look into the lens and notice what's there. And just notice the moment to moment changes as if you are looking on a screen. That is your own mental screen that reflects your own inner world. Imagine behind your eyelids exists two little mirrors. And as you're looking into that space, you are looking into your own inner world. And just observe that space as if it is your inner world. Notice how it feels. Notice the energy of your own inner world. And just imagine yourself diving into that space. And imagine it pulling you into your body. And just feel yourself diving into your body, diving into your own internal landscape. And just become aware of the sensations in your body, right here, right now. Become fully present of yourself sitting or lying down, your body weight, your clothing on your skin. Become aware of sensations in your body. And as you are traveling through your body, locate your breath. And just feel your breath. Notice where in your body your breath is. And just notice the feeling of your breath deep within your body. Feel your inhale through your nose and through your exhale out your mouth. And just feel the rise and fall of your breath. Inhale, rising. Exhale, fall. And just feel the flow of your breath through your body. Feel your breath deep within the core of your body, in your center line. Like just imagine you have a central pillar through the central core of your body, and your breath is flowing up and down your center line. And just imagine your breath to be like a bubble. And as it flows up and down your center line, imagine this bubble rising up and down like a bubble through a straw. Feel your breath rising up and feel your breath flowing down. As you inhale, feel beautiful energy uplifting your body. And as you exhale, feel your body letting go. Feel your body soften with every exhale breath. Inhale, feel beautiful fresh oxygen coming into the body. And exhale, release. Feel your body melting. Feel your body releasing with every exhale breath, letting go. Inhale. And exhale, letting go. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel your face relax. Feel your arms relax. Your chest, your belly, your spine, your legs, all the way to the base of your feet. And just feel this gentle calm, this softness through your body. And just focus on that stillness for a few moments. Just feel your breath flowing through this calm, relaxed body. And feel that calmness. Feel that release. Bring your awareness to your breath in your heart space. And just feel your breath around your heart. Holding, caressing, massaging your heart. Feel your breath in your belly. Deep, grounded breath. Hold that stillness. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes.
That was fantastic. I feel very calm.
We should have started that way. I'm
Oh,
not sure if
that
you
was
heard my dog snoring on the floor next to me, but
oh,
I think he went into a deep meditation there.
oh, that was amazing. That was really good. Thank you so much for your time. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, how's the best way?
Probably the best way is, at the moment, I'm kind of changing my branding,
Mm-hmm.
but at the moment, probably the bebetrue.com.au website,
All right. Okay.
or connect with me on Facebook, which is Cheryne Blom Ross. I'm also releasing a new website that will go out in October. So hopefully at the
Fantastic.
same time that we're doing this
Yes.
website, and that's a program. It's going to be an online program, really, really simple program called Mindful Mummies.
Oh, great.
And that website is mindfulmummies.com. Mindfulmummies.com.au,
Okay.
and there'll be a free program and some meditations for mums and some really great
Fantastic.
kind of tools there to use as well. And of course, download the app, the Peace in My
Yes.
Peace in My Pocket meditation podcast. So that's probably just
great.
the easiest way to connect as well.
Yeah. So I think I'll definitely be getting that podcast going because, like life takes over, doesn't it? And you don't do the meditation, but that was wonderful. That was truly amazing. It was incredible amount of information that I think people can absolutely utilize immediately. But get onto those resources. I think, wherever you are in your life with the journey that you have, you need sometimes a support system, and Cheryne's amazing in her wisdom and also her empathy and caring nature. And at any time when I speak to you, I just feel absolute peace and love.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
thank you so much for being on the show, and
Thank you
I'll
for having
definitely
me.
want to have you on again. But please check it out, CheryneBlomRoss.com, and all the other pieces of information that you mentioned, and have a beautiful day.
Thanks, Irene. Good luck with your podcast. All
Thank
the best.
you.
Beautiful
Thanks.
space.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.